It's Elliot, and I'm back with video number 7 in our Truth About Building Strength series. Today we're going to talk about the brachial plexus. These are the nerves that innervate the ears, the mouth, the throat, and the arms. It's associated with creativity and communication. So you can imagine that, while it innervates the ears, it's associated with hearing, your ability to receive information or communication, and the mouth, your ability to then process and effectively communicate what it is you're receiving from your environment to get what you want. Also, it's associated with creativity. This is where all the magic happens. When we take in information from our environment, education, media, experiences of that nature, mix it with our own personal experiences and our own spirit, our own ideas, what makes us unique on the inside, and then give it back through our hands with creativity. That's really when we become creators. That's really when we start contributing to the world in a myriad of fashion. Work is done with these two hands, and as you can see, where we bring in information and then we're able to disseminate it and use it is where this entire region is associated with. So let's get started. Catabolic stimulation associated with this area. This is an area that gets very clenched. Specifically in Western societies and compulsory contemporary education and families, where children are to sit down and shut up. That's essentially one of the ways that we rear children, is shut up, shut up. I'm guilty of telling my kids to shut up also. But what happens is when we do that, we clench and we tighten up this area. And it's physically associated with the shrugging of the shoulders, tightening of the throat, tightening of the neck. And if you could even consider that that's an expression of fear or having to find a way to protect yourself. If you look at like when dogs are getting ready to fight, the neck gets big, it tightens up. Or other animals like a snake, that their hood opens up. This area is also an area that we've got to protect or make ourselves look big with. So once those muscles start getting really tight because you're being attacked, shut down, especially verbally, it gets very tight and clenched, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But one of the ways to stimulate this area catabolically and really release, what happens is as we start moving up the body, anabolic and catabolic starts looking sort of the same. So right now we're going to do things that release a lot of the tightness and energy in an active fashion, the neck and throat in this area. So things like yelling, which, how often do we get a chance to do that? Just go outside and let out a big motherfucking yell. You'd be looked at like you're crazy, and I guarantee that 90% of you right now have not been able to do that since you were probably 6 years old, and the last time you did it, you got a slap, so you stopped. But if we don't express ourselves through chanting, singing, vibration of the throat, all types of chants and ohms and things of this nature. All religions and all spiritual practices have a time, there are two times, anabolic, catabolic, have a time where chanting is a part of it. If you're a Catholic, they do the little beads. If you're a Baha'i, you do the Baha'u'llah, you listen to Muslims pray. As far as the East and West, wherever you go, most spiritual practices have something to do, have some form of chanting. There are people that do speaking in tongues. A lot of like the Baptist churches in the south part of the United States, they do these speaking in tongues. It's not that these people are crazy. They may look crazy, they may seem crazy, but there is a lot of wisdom to releasing the tension in this particular area. I used to do a lot of meditation that was advised by a man named Osho. If you want to look him up, it's O-S-H-O, and he would have several meditations that were designed to release this area. One was called gibberish, where you would just, like it says, just gibberish, just jabber as much as you want. Another dynamic form of meditation would involve releasing a deep blowing sound from our bodies as we jump. So it looked something like this. There's the singing behavior, like the do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, all these things. This is really what makes human beings so incredible is that we manipulate the vibrations in our throat to make sounds that stimulate us spiritually, mentally, and physically. So I'm getting a little excited about this because this really is a very exciting area. It's probably one where I'm probably hyperstimulated because I like to talk a lot and I like creating shit. So anyway, a person who has weak power in this area, a person who's been stifled creatively, a person who, you know, wanted to grow up and Daddy, I want to be a piano player. And his dad's like, well, that's for sissies, my son. You can't be a piano player. And every time the kid brings it up, his dad's like, shut up, go play with trucks. So there's a kid who the spirit is acting through him and wanting to do something that was disapproved by an adult in his life, especially one that he respected, is going to have a tight, clenched area here. It may even have jaw problems, hearing problems, neck tightness, cross-jawing, things of that nature. But also the organs that it's associated with is the thyroid glands. And as you know, the thyroid regulates the metabolism. So I find, just in my experience, and I just observe, I've never really been a therapist of this fashion, but I love watching and observing and experimenting on myself and asking people questions to see how they became the way they are. And so many women with thyroid problems, it just happens to be women. I think for some reason, women are told to bite their tongues a little bit more than men are. So many women with thyroid problems, thyroid cancers, metabolism problems. When probed deeply enough, there was either some sort of trauma in their life at a young age where they needed to keep it quiet, don't say anything, don't tell anybody, it's our little secret. And this entire area got clenched up with energy and manifested itself. It really grew into a cancer or a dysfunction of the thyroid. Stiff neck, like I said before, those muscles get really tight. And hearing problems are also associated with it. A person who has, or let's talk about anabolic stimulation, other ways, like I said, they start looking kind of the same, but other ways to stimulate this area to really release it of its energy is neck and shoulder stretches. I haven't met a person in my life, client or otherwise, that wouldn't benefit from tons and tons of neck and shoulder stretching. This area just becomes so tight with the amount of burden that we physically carry and emotionally carry. And you know, the media really is bombarding us constantly with messages that may create some sort of disconnect or cognitive dissonance in our body. And we, at a subconscious level, recognize this, and it causes a lot of tension in this area. So when you're watching the local news and they're showing you all this gory garbage that really doesn't support you in becoming the strongest version of yourself, or even just stupid cultural ideas that support you in becoming more of a robot for corporations and government, then essentially there's a disconnect somewhere, and that area starts becoming very tight, besides just our physical posture during the day when we're on the computer and stuff. Anabolic energizers are, obviously, we talked about anabolic energizers for each one of these areas, and I have finally created all the anabolic energizer videos. Some of you may already have gotten it through a special that I put together last week, but I'm going to make it available to everyone pretty soon, so you'll be able to use, I have dozens of them now that you can use for different areas of the body to really stimulate this, the parasympathetic branch of the nervous system like we spoke about, but also in the particular plexuses or nerve ganglia that we've been describing. Industry or creative work. This is really where you get to give yourself to the world in the way that only you can. Now, everyone is completely different, and I don't want to go about telling you what's good and what's bad associated with what you should be doing with your industry or creative work. But this really comes in the form of so much more beyond just painting pictures. So for example, what I'm doing here with you is the highest form of my creative expression. I love learning things and then teaching it to people through talking about it and drawing pictures. This is my industry or creative work. It's my industry also because I use it as a means for supporting myself physically. I teach people and I earn money to do so. Creative work could be in the form of your volunteer work, what you enjoy doing. Riding, I've got a friend who's a BMX bike rider, and then he goes and he rides these, he has like a hobby. their hobbies. He enjoys buying pieces of bikes and putting them together and then riding them. Anything beyond mindless stupidity that builds ruts in our nervous system, like playing video games or hanging out on Facebook, but really at the end of it, you have something that is uniquely yours, is considered creative work. A garden patch, raising smart, healthy, vibrant, vital children. These are all creative expressions that only human beings have the capacity to do, to blend experience and the world with our spirit and make something brand new. It's really the crossroads of spirituality and manifestation. It's incredible. Someone who's strong in this particular area, someone who is, someone who has the ability to express himself, someone who, if you know people who are either because of physical ailments, which may be due to psycho-emotional, but they just can't get the right words. They can't put two words together. They can't get the right words together, or they have a hard time getting through to people. They have good intentions. They want to say something, but no one hears them, either because they've got a soft voice. Like I said, this happens to be one of the areas that I feel like I'm also very dominant in. I have a loud voice. I like talking. I can yell very loud. I have some friends that can't speak loudly, and I can see how that's frustrating, because especially having a conversation with me, or if it's some sort of a debate, I tend to win just because I get heard, where some of these guys, they just don't. They can't. Some clients that I've had and some of the guys I see on a regular basis can't express themselves. So it becomes very clenched and frustrating. I speak is the affirmation. Good listening skills are also associated with it, because you can become dysfunctional in one end over the other. So one of the areas that I've been working on for years is my ability to shut my freaking mouth and listen to other people when they're speaking. One of the activities that a lot of spiritual practices encourage is going on speaking fasts, where you just won't talk for a day or a weekend or a week. And really what happens is your entire perspective of your life and things that are going on around you, the people who are with you, changes, because you no longer are attacking. The mouth is an attacking organ. The teeth are aggressive. The mouth is a way for us to stab out at people. But the minute we can shut that in and just listen and absorb without having to say something, you really you evolve to a much higher level, especially if you find that there's imbalance. A supple, relaxed neck and shoulders. Wouldn't we all really love that? There are several stretches. I'm going to add some more stretches to the Anabolic Activators download page that I created not too long ago. But several stretches and movements. The neck rolls. I haven't met a person who doesn't enjoy doing neck rolls or shoulder rolls, things of this nature, just to release a lot of the energy and have a really supple and healthy neck and shoulder region. Hey, for those of you guys who were wondering where I've been with this video series, I really appreciate you watching this and supporting these ideas, because really this is what helps you to become the strongest version of yourself. It's everything. It's not just looking a particular way or lifting an amount of weight or making a certain amount of money or having the hottest girlfriend or boyfriend in your neighborhood. It really has to do with your nervous system, your hormonal system, your thoughts, your muscles, your bones, everything. And this just happens to be one of the ways that I've found, or one of the practices that I've found to be the most inclusive, that doesn't ignore anything. So as I build upon this Strength Temple idea and series with you guys and share more information, you'll see how everything is interconnected and how this is all a part of becoming the strongest version of yourself, your personal evolution, and then ultimately how you can support other people around you, because the more stronger people we have, the better the world will be. Don't go out. My advice is not to go out and volunteer your time if you're fucked up on the inside. If you're sick, sad, depressed, having problems, you don't need to go out there and do anything for anyone else. You need to fix this first. When you get strong, you will automatically, without even effort, make other people strong who are within your sphere of influence. You start there. And that's it. So I'll be back hopefully next week with the the final of these videos, I'm working on a lot of really interesting things about balancing what we're going to talk about up top, the very last zone, or plexus, which is really our brain. And there's so much that can be done from the top down, the bottom up, but it has to be considered to help you become the strongest version of yourself. Talk to you next time.